Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Thursday, November 6th. It is 6:27 right now. We got market opening up shortly in about 3 minutes. Before we get started, I have to put this disclosure out here just for you guys to see. Now that I'm registered as a professional trader and I'm registered with CFTC, um, I got to give you guys this little spiel. So just 1 second real quick while I get this. I'm just running. I got these emails and stuff. So before we get started, guys, I know just a quick reminder, futures trading involves substantial risk of loss and isn't suitable for all investors. You can lose more than your initial investment. Nothing you see here should be taken as financial advice or solicitation to participate in any trading program. Everything I'm doing today is for educational and informational purposes only. I'm just walking through my own analysis of my own trades. Past performance does not guarantee future results, and if I reference a backtest or hypothetical performance, understand that those results have limitations and don't reflect actual trading. Cody Kai Capital LLC is registered with the CFTC as a commodity trading advisor and is a member of the National Futures Association. I may hold positions in the market as discussed, and my views may change at any time based on market conditions. So I'm just going to give you guys that little spiel at the beginning of our session. Because now that I'm a professional trader or considered a professional trader, I I have to disclose all this information. But all right, guys, so that's pretty much that. Here is the trades for today. Again, on open right here, we have uh, the opening entry against momentum. It's always going to be against momentum, guys. Right now, the edge is against momentum for the opening entry. So we have this over here. It currently has a 76.11 um, weighted probability. If you guys want to take this position, it's going to be for a buy. There was no news this morning, so that's a good sign. And we'll see what happens here. Markets can open up shortly in about 30 seconds. So make sure all the accounts are okay. I had a account disconnected with NinjaTrader right now, and I had to get it all sorted out. Yeah, I know, Masij. It's funny, right? It's funny, but I just have to do it. I know it's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. Um, Yeah, I got an email from regulators reminding me that I have to give disclosures before every live session. But you guys have been here for a while, so you know how it's done. All right, guys, opening move right there, full TP on the opening candle. So like I said, it's going to be a buy. I had it marked up already right there as we started. Uh, and there we go. First entry right there is a full TP for the breakout on open. If you guys wanted to go for the bigger move, you could go for the 80. I think it's still running right now, and it just hit 80 points right there as well. So nice work. Smith got it for 50. Some of you guys got it for 40. Some of you guys got it for 80 points right there. So there goes the breakout on open. It was for a buy. As you can see over here, it was against momentum, had a weighted probability of 76.11%. Overall 72.22, buy percentage of 70, sell percentage of 75. It won 3 out of the 3 recent Thursdays. So perfect move right there. Looks like Smith got it, iPhone got it. iPhone said F yes, took your advice, did it for 80/40 and it worked. Yeah, if you do it for 80/40, I think it's usually going to work for the most part. And if it loses, it's fine because you're doing a 1 to 2. Plus, you get basically quadruple profit in that sense because you're basically doing like a 4 to 2 basically. So nice work, guys, on catching that trade right there. 632, there's another entry coming up right here. It's going to be with momentum to the upside. Ideally, you want to look for a sell here, but the buys also look good. So the sells have a 70% probability, buys have 62.50% probability. So either direction here could work pretty well. The only problem with this here, like, we've talked about in the past, is that, there's a lot of manipulation here on open. So it's a little tricky when you're taking this position here as price gets to that point. So if you guys want to take it, I mean, feel free to take it. I will mark it up for you guys here at 6:32. It's going to happen in about a minute, and then we'll go from there. So entry's going to come up pretty shortly. Like I said, I don't really take these entries on open for, the obvious reasons, of course. Price here is heavily, heavily manipulated. There's no news this morning. So we had news that was scheduled at 5:30. It actually did not come up because of the government shutdown. We talked about this. We talk about this almost every day, which is, yeah, it is. It sucks that there's some days with news, some days without news because it's hard to really gauge how the market's going to move. I mean, obviously a lot of crazy stuff happening here overnight. Every day, really, it's just stuff happening. So this entry right here is going to be a buy, guys. If you guys are looking to get into this 632 candle, as you guys can see right in front of you, it is uh, it is a buy. Candle's going to close in about 20 seconds. If you guys want to take it, feel free to take it. If not, then we'll see what happens next. Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So iPhone over here scaled down, but it's fine. I mean, a win's a win, right? So good profit on that there. On the open. All right, this candle's closing in about a second, and this candle has now closed. Again, this is the entry at 632. Ideally, I would have looked for a sell, but it is for a buy here. So I probably wouldn't have taken this trade. Like I said, I always make my decision before the market has opened the night before, and I was looking for a sell here. So that would have been skipped, of course. Next entry is going to be at 636. This isn't going to be a target entry for me. Here, I'll mark up 636 over here. So this is not going to be a target entry for me. This is going to be just a regular entry. It has a 60.72% weighted probability. So it has about a 10% edge. It has a 50% probability overall, 71.43 for a buy, and 36.36 for a sell. It won 2 out of the 3 recent Thursdays, and it's identified to go with a buy for today because it has a higher probability. So if you guys want to take this entry right here later, am I seeing things?
Connection lost.
Dude, I'm seeing things. I don't know if you guys see this. I think because of this green right here, I'm starting to see green bars on my screen. But I don't think it's actually there. I think my eyes are just seeing green bars. Um, I don't have green bars. Yeah, I don't. Okay, sorry guys. I'm just tripping for a second there. I thought that I saw green bars over here, but it's because I see these green bars right here. So my eyes are kind of adapting to the chart here because this is so bright that I see like green bars, like basically these green bars right here, like support resistance. I see them on my chart, but it's because my eyes are adjusting from like the white screen to the green screen. Okay, never mind. I thought there was something wrong with my chart. Anyways, back to my analysis for the 636. So if you guys are looking to get into this position right here, this is not a target entry. The reason why it's not a target entry is because the weighted average is not above 65%, right? Typically, I'm going for trades that are only above 65%. So in order for it to be on my list, it has to be at least 60. But in order for it to be a target entry and be green, it has to be above 65. So this is not going to be a target entry for me. It's still a good entry, but it's not considered a great entry, right? Because I need it to be higher with regard to probability. So if you guys want to take it, again, it's going to be with momentum. We currently have a bullish momentum here, so it's going to be a buy. It has a 60.72 weighted average for probability, so that gives it about a 10-point edge. It's a decent edge. I wouldn't say it's a...
Lost.
Jeez, man, do you guys hear that? My Ninja Trader just disconnected like how many times now? It's I don't know what's the deal. I don't think it's my internet because my internet here isn't like blinking out. But I mean, it is what it is. I got to deal with it. Hopefully, we can make that transition to StoneX. I'm currently transferring profits, or not. I'm transferring funds into the hedge fund right now. I'm transferring about 100,000 over to StoneX. So hopefully by next week we can have everything sorted out and we can be on StoneX. I just need to transfer over funds so I can practice on StoneX, and then and then I'll go from there. So. Ninja Trader's been tripping me out this week, guys, with the disconnects. Like every day it's been a lot of disconnects, and honestly, it makes me not want to take trades with them right now because I'm trading so many accounts and I can't afford to have a disconnect during a live trade. But anyways, guys, here's the entry here at 636. It's going to be a buy. If you guys want to take it, feel free. It's going to come up right now shortly in a few moments. Connection lost again, of course. Uh, I'm sure you guys can hear that in the background, right? The connection loss. It's happening like almost every couple, like every minute or every 2 minutes. It's it's throwing me off right now. So I think I might have to disconnect from my Ninja and get that sorted out before I even decide to take anything here. So here's a trade at 636. I think what I'm going to do right now, guys, is I'm going to do that exactly. I'm going to sign off my Ninja. I'm going to sign back on. It's not my internet. I know it's not my internet now that's causing the problem. It's just Ninja because my trading view isn't having problems right now, right? You guys can see my trading view here. There's no issues with my trading view. It's not blinking out or anything like that. It's a specific issue to NinjaTrader right now. Yeah, Patricia said take prop accounts off. You think that's the thing? I think that's the thing too, right? It's probably the prop accounts that's causing the issue because I don't think it's the live accounts. All right, let me log into everybody's accounts once again. It seems like these prop accounts are the ones with the issue some or most of the time. All right, logging in everybody over here. Okay, so hopefully we don't get those issues right now. I'm just gonna, and I might have to buy a separate laptop for this then, if that's the case. But yeah, guys, with StoneX, I'm trying to go through the process. So I already set up my personal account. I'm setting up my IRA account next to, I know some of you guys want to transfer over your IRA, so I'm going through the process so that I know how to guide you guys through it. Um, but yeah, once we have that set up, I'm going to take a tester trade, and then once the tester trade is good, we'll transition over to StoneX. Okay, so I don't have any prop accounts on here. Let's see if there's any connection issues now. It's okay if I don't trade on my prop accounts, not a big deal. The live accounts are more important, of course. All right, guys, 639 right here. This is going to be with momentum. It's for a sell. This one isn't going to be super, super great in some instances because it just doesn't have like a nice trade history. So the trade's currently running right now for a sell here at 639, guys. It's currently running in profit as we speak. So this is the 639 inch right here. This is currently running. This is going to be with momentum. It has a 73.34 probability weighted, 66.67 probability overall, 50% for buys, 80% for sells. It won one out of the three recent Thursdays. It's not necessarily bad. Let me just pull up the stats over here. I think it might have been for buys if that was the case where they lost, but let's see, 39. I remember looking at this trade. This trade was actually a nice setup. I was tempted to maybe get into it, but I had to fix my stupid NinjaTrader again. Okay, so looking at the trades over here, 30th. Okay, yeah, so this was a loss, but it was for a buy. 23rd, it was a loss, but it was also for a buy. And the 13th over here, it was a win and it was for a sell. So the trade right there is currently running at 639. Looks like it's going to hit target right there. Looks like a good entry. I mean, it looks like there would have been slippage on this entry though, guys. Just looking at it over here, it technically should have hit by now or close to it, but it looks like there was a lot of slippage on these candles right here because the candle closed right there and the entry would have happened a little bit lower. I mean, either way, it looks like it's going to hit regardless. So Rashida took it. She hit her target already. She only made 300 on it. Smith said 2 wins today. Main evaluation account is now pass. Congrats, Smith. Masij had ordered a new laptop and PC. Nice work, Masij. And we're good. All right, guys. So that trade right there just hit full TP. If you guys took that entry, great work. Again, like I said, unfortunately, I was trying to sort out my NinjaTrader right now, so I couldn't get into that position. But that position was one of my target entries. We got another one coming up right here at 642. Also, this is going to be a buy entry though. So this one at 642 is going to be skipped, guys. There's no buy signal here, but so far there's been two entries for the day. So today's algo entries, uh, 6:29 a.m. It was a win for plus 2R. This one was at 6:39 plus 2R. Total for the day is two wins, zero losses, plus 4R. So congrats, guys, to a lot of you guys here who are taking these entries, hitting your targets, and reaching your goals. So nice work to Smith there for getting another funded account. Congrats to you. Nice work on Rashida catching that trade there as well. The trade here at 642 is a buy entry. So it has a 69.45 probability weighted. This has basically about a 9 to 10% edge for this specific direction. It has 55.56 overall, 83.33% buys, 41.67% sells. So the sells here aren't like super great. That's why I wouldn't have taken it. This trade here is actually for a sell. So that's why I wouldn't have taken it because I already decided on taking a buy last night, right? Because it wasn't a buy here, I'm not taking the position. So, all right, other than that, we will continue following over here. The 643 position also not going to be an entry because it's for a buy. We need to have a buy signal in order for that to come up. So there's not going to be an entry there at 643. Both of these here, no entry for 42 or 43. The next opportunity is going to be at 646. This is going to be against momentum. So we would still need a buy signal to come up here. Nice arc. So arc over here just he almost passed his accounts. He made 400 per account there. He's almost at his 300 3,000 mark. So great work right there. You guys are killing it today, guys. Congrats to all you guys here killing it. All you guys are just pretty much following the positions here. So you guys are doing great. So here's Arc's profits. He killed it yesterday, made about close to 1,000 per account, and then Arc again today. He took this trade that came up, made 400 per account. Nice work, Arc. Almost there, passing your account. Just a few more, and you're good to go. All right, so it looks like yeah, the next target entry is going to be closer to 702. I don't think we're going to get one here at 646 because in order for us to take this entry here at 646, we need to have a buy signal, right? So this is going to be against momentum, and I'm looking for, or sorry, I'm actually looking for a sell. So this right here, in order for us to get a sell, it's going to be against momentum, right? So in order for it to come up, it needs to have a buy signal here. Because if we're going against momentum with this specific entry, it's going to be for a buy right now, right? Because we have a sell signal right here. So this trade here is not going to come up. Last night, I decided on taking a sell already. And because it's not coming up for a sell, there's not going to be an entry there. All right, so it looks like we're going to hang tight until 702, it looks like. And thanks, Patricia, for the heads up earlier with the prop accounts. It seems like that was a problem. I'm not having any more disconnects. So it's always a cat and mouse game. It's always trying to figure out what the problem is. And it looks like the problem was the prop accounts. I don't know if it was Apex or Tradeify, but it was one or the other. Yeah, it wouldn't meet the criteria because it's against justice. So the 646 entry, it's going to be against. So in order for us to have that sell there, we would need to have we need to have it the opposite way. Yeah, you're good, Justice. I know sometimes it's confusing when it's against, right? Because you're usually looking for with. For me personally, I like to take it with. That's just my personal preference. I see that when you're writing momentum, you typically want to go with it, right? In the direction, versus catching the bottom or catching the top and looking for that reversal. It still works. It's just you're kind of it's kind of counterintuitive unless you already have the reversal happening, right? So for example, if this here starts to flatten out and it starts to push up, then okay, great. I would love to take an entry like that. But if it's like still dropping, you don't really want to go against momentum. So for me personally, I don't really like to do that. Patricia said no problem. Happens a lot with Tradeify. Okay, that's good to know. I was blaming Ninja Trader earlier, and it wasn't even Ninja Trader's fault. It was, I mean, technically it was, but it was more so the specific accounts associated with it. I can see that being a problem because with Tradeify, they're doing that competition right now, and there's so many people trading on it, right? So I could see why they're having connection issues. Yeah, I kind of gave up on that competition. I think what I might have to do with that competition is I might have to here, let's see. I think what I might do with that one is I might just take every single trade that comes up specifically. And I should probably just do that on Trade. I was thinking about doing that the other day, but see, I'll log into right here on Trade, and I think I'll just take that trade specifically on that competition thing or whatever it is. Okay, it's gonna be because it's capped at 2 contracts, so it makes it really difficult to like, go for the goal there. All right, let's see. Okay, we'll see how this works. All right, I got this set up here. So, with my specific, just the Tradeify account, guys, I'm gonna be taking basically all the entries that come up here that are target entries. Because I mean it's technically yellow account anyways. I'm curious to see like what the results are right now because the thing with the Tradeify Cup guys is I don't think it's very fair. I think a lot of people are just YOLOing on trades trying to get like a ton of profit off like one. I think what they should have for the Tradeify is they should have had a minimum trading day requirement, like at least 10 days or whatever. I don't think they have a minimum trading day. So what happens is a lot of people will take a huge trade, get lucky on that trade, and then just leave the account alone so they make it to the next round. Kind of BS. It's honestly kind of BS that but they don't care, right? It's all marketing for them. So obviously they don't care about whether the competition is realistic or not. I think quite a few things that should have been included, like a minimum trading day and then no cap on the. I could see why they have a cap on the contract size, but it makes it hard for someone like me who uses a fixed TP stop loss because that you can't really. I mean, you technically can, but you don't want to. YOLO your account, of course, right? It's just not the way to trade it. Um, so it is what it is. I still don't think that it's very fair for a lot of people because if you guys saw the Tradeify Cup results like on Sunday, there's people that were up like 20,000, 30,000, whatever. Those guys YOLO those accounts. There's no way a normal person would make that much within pre-market. Market wasn't even open yet, and they took like these huge moves. So. It's all good. I'll try to keep trading on it, but like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep up with those guys who are YOLOing their accounts because I'm not gonna do that. Of course, it's gonna mess with my trade psychology if I take those types of trades. But all right, guys, next entry is gonna be at 702. Um, we're looking for a possible buy entry here. So right here at 702, it has a 81.11 weighted probability. So it's about 11%, or not 11. This is about a 31% edge for it to win. It has an overall probability of 72.22. For buys here, it has a 90% probability of it winning. For sells, it has a 50% probability of it winning. So with that being the case, I mean, buys or sells could work well for this entry at 702. But for me specifically, I would be looking for a possible buy. So in order for me to take this entry, what I need to see here is I need a buy signal come up. I need price to kind of flatten out a little bit. And then I'm going to look for it to push back to the upside, right? To basically cover this whole area that dropped down. So that's what I'm going to be looking for it here at 702. If that doesn't come up, then I'm obviously not going to take the trade. If you guys want to take it for a sell, like if the buy signal never comes up, you can take it for a sell. The thing that I would be kind of worried about, or not worried about, but the thing that I'd kind of caution you guys is that price is overextended, right? It's dropped down over 200 points. So it's due for retracement or due for reversal at some point, after dropping this much. There's no news today, so there's no catalyst really pushing price that crazy. Yeah, there's just not really much breaking news. The only breaking news right now really is the government shutdown, right? It's kind of screwing the market over right now and everybody in general. If you guys are traveling in the US over the holiday season, it looks like there's a lot of problems happening at the airport right now. If you guys saw the news, basically the airport is they are going to be cutting like about 10% of the flights per day. It's a lot of flights. And then TSA has been kind of understaffed. So, I've seen things in the news where people are waiting like hours to just get through security. So there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that are affecting the market. Of course, the tariffs, the lawsuits that are going on, the government shutdown, the wars going on around the world. There's a lot of things that are kind of factoring into like what's happening in the market. A lot of people aren't paying attention to this stuff, but you know, it's uh, it's happening. So just something to keep in mind. Yeah, Massachusetts State air traffic controllers as well. They're all unpaid right now. Yeah, so that's the thing. So TSA, air traffic controllers, there's a lot of government workers who are not being paid right now, and it's affecting the market, of course, right? Whether you believe it or not, or whether you see it or not, the market's being affected one way or the other because of this government shutdown. Also, there was a lot of news this morning, right? So this morning, if you look at the calendar yesterday, we had all the jobs data that was supposed to come out today. Nothing came out. There was like I think 10 or 12 news events that were listed at 5:30. They all were disappeared because they got canceled because of the government shutdown. It's a crazy time that we live in right now because I mean, just in general, with Trump being president, a lot of things that don't ever happen are happening, right? Like this is the longest government shutdown we've had here in the US. It's not a bad thing. It's not, I mean, it is a bad thing, but for us as traders, it's not necessarily a bad thing because it causes volatility in the market, right? We talked about this last year and the year before that. We were we talked about how the market was super, super slow when Biden was president, right? And then we already anticipated, we said when Trump becomes president, the market's going to be pretty crazy. And what happened? Market's pretty crazy. It's just, it's a repeat of his first presidency. Maybe not as crazy, but still crazy nonetheless. Yeah, exactly. Massachusetts is better for us, no news. I prefer no news because it's a little more predictable, of course. So again, guys, this trade at 702, this is going to be with momentum. It has an 81.11% weighted probability. That's a 31% probability edge. Um, in order for us to get that, though, I need price here to flatten out and then push back to the upside, right? We're not really getting that right now. Price is continuing to drop lower. Momentum is still pushing lower, so I wouldn't really go against momentum. The problem with chasing momentum down lower is that this is highly overextended, right? Again, we measure from this top point to here. This thing has dropped almost 250 points. This is a big drop on its own, right? If we had news, then okay, great, that it would make a ton of sense. But there's no news for today, so like this drop here doesn't really have a catalyst. It's just market is kind of dumping right now, and it's dumping pretty hard. Um, oh, man, I was just like, so I'm trying to offset all my positions on my stocks right now because I'm going to transfer this account over to StoneX, but I was really just trying to get out, and now it's kind of dumping down a little bit. I got like 31,000 that's kind of sitting in this position that I had on Visa from like a month ago because I just rotate my stocks and it just jumped again like another couple percentage points. I was trying to get out of the position last night, but they don't have overnight trading with stocks yet. It's all good. I think I'm going to do that right now, actually. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to get out when it pushes right back up. Yeah, I was so close to getting out too. Down 1%, 1.67%. It's not a lot, but I was trying to just get out of this position so I clear out all my positions and then just transfer all my funds. The thing with the stock market is that it's so unpredictable right now. I feel like it's very unpredictable. 340. Yeah, hopefully this corrects up by today. I'm just gonna pull out of this position. I just have to clear out all my positions so that I can transfer this over. Can't have any active positions. So I guess once this transfer is over, I'm not going to be in the stock market at all. I used to have like a lot of stocks that I kind of just held on to, like long-term investments. But I think I can make way more money if I trade it with the futures over here. So I'm just going to transfer over my investment accounts over to StoneX and I'm going to add it to the hedge fund. It just makes the most sense, right? Because I can make way more growth trading futures on it rather than just letting it sit in the stocks. The stocks were cool and I was making dividends and whatnot, but in comparison to what I'm making here on the future side, it just doesn't make sense for me to leave it there. Okay, it looks like now I'm having connection issues. You guys can see here that it kind of blinked out. It's the normal connection issues that I have around 7 o'clock, right? Right now it's 6:57. For some reason, I tend to get connection issues right now at 7 o'clock. I don't know why. I could hear my Ninja Trader is having, there you go. The ding noise, connected and reconnected. Let's see, Miss Hughes said I was doing a ton of back tests for ES last night. Sean, I figured out something interesting, at least for ES. When a trade won the last three or 4-4 on Mondays, Tuesdays, etc., it only wins 23% of the time versus when it won 1 to 2 recent wins on average. Seems like newer trends are better. Yeah, no, and I agree too. So one thing that Messi just mentioned is that typically it's better when the history is less because when it's less, it shows that it's eaten enough losses for it to bounce back. And you probably agree with that too, right, Masish? I've noticed that too. Like for example, we could use this trade at 728, right? 728, it lost all three entries of previous Thursdays. So with that being the case, this trade's probably going to hit because the probabilities are like, the algo doesn't necessarily identify bad entries. It identifies good and great entries. So with that being the case, it's about time for it to kind of flip the other way, right? It's had enough losses where now it's time for it to win. Um, so we'll use this as an example because this is the next one that's coming up, I guess. Yeah. Because what happens is like when it continues pushing in one direction for too long, it's usually due for retracement or reversal and whatnot. So like usually there's, you can't be 100% with the trades, there's always going to be like a couple trades that lose here and there. And if it's been winning a lot lately, it's probably due for for the pullback or retracement. Yeah, Masih said, yes, I am enhancing my program to find patterns in the back test to see which chosen trades actually win consistently based on the stats. I feel like I can do a bit more, be more selective without overfitting. Yeah, I agree too. I'm always trying to improve without overfitting, of course, because we don't want to have too many requirements. Like the history here, this is just it's an extra thing, right? The main thing I'm looking for is really the weighted average. I'm looking for this and then obviously the direction. So guys, the 702 entry, I don't think we're going to have an entry here for a buy, of course. We needed to have a buy signal. It hasn't came up yet. Looks like price here is still dumping down lower. So unfortunately, it does not look like we're going to have the entry here at 702. If that's the case, I mean, that's perfectly fine. Then my next entry is going to be at 755. If you guys do want to take this entry, though, you guys can take it. Like I said, price is very overextended at this point. It's pushed down about 350 points. So chasing a sell here, I think, is going to be very, very, very risky, guys. Just something to keep in mind if you guys decide to take this trade. Because, usually if it drops down this much, this is like past the threshold. Usually my first threshold is 150, then 250, then 350. It's at that third threshold. So at this point, I think price is very overextended and it's due for a retracement or a reversal. But it doesn't have to happen, right? Momentum can keep pushing that direction forever if it wants to. It's just there's no catalyst here dropping price lower, right? I don't really see anything. I mean, there is stuff happening behind the scenes, but nothing specific where it's like affecting the market directly. So just something to keep in mind. If you guys want to take this sell, feel free to take it. I'm not going to take it, of course, because my probabilities here indicate that I should be looking for a buy, not a sell. There's a 90% probability for a buy here, 50% probability for a sell. Yeah, Andrew said I knew a guy that traded like that. He had a strategy that rarely lost back to back, so he would wait for it to lose to take the next trade. Yeah, I used to do the same thing before too, Andrew, with the breakouts. So like before with the breakouts on open, we used to look for the trade to kind of lose for a while because obviously trades are always going to lose their edge, right? It doesn't matter what strategy you're playing. Sometimes they're going to lose their edge, especially if they've been winning for too long. Um, so yeah, no, I agree with you guys 100% on that. Ed said he found the same. He was looking at very high percentage trades, 85 and up, and they seem to lose a lot more than win. So there's definitely something about it, winning too much. Yeah. So the thing with momentum, and we talked about this before, momentum can't last forever, right? So for example, here, see how price is pushing down? About almost 400 points now. Eventually, this thing has to stop. It just can't keep dumping forever, right? Unless we have a market crash. If we have a market crash, totally different story. This isn't a market crash, it's just continuation to the downside. So eventually, this is going to have to slow down a bit and come back up, right? The reason for that is because it's the basic supply and demand concept, right? There's only so much supply in the market, there's only so much demand in the market, right? Right now, the supply is going deeper and deeper and deeper to the downside. So there's or demand actually. So it shows that there's not very much demand here because price people just keep selling off, right? The supply is going down, or it's going up because people are selling off. There's more opportunity here to buy. The thing is, this can only get pushed down for so far, right? People aren't going to keep selling forever. Eventually, people are going to think, okay, this is a good discount. I'm gonna buy it here. Now I'm gonna push it right back up. So you just got to use psychology, um, and just like basic understanding of like supply and demand, not as a strategy, but supply and demand as in general, right? So right now you can see YM is getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. At some point, someone's going to think, okay, this is enough. And this is a bargain. So I'm going to buy a bunch of YM contracts right here. I'm going to write it back up. Let me go over here real quick. I'm going to mark up structure so that you guys can see things a little better. The only reason I would see this dumping further is if there was some sort of news that came, some sort of news event, of course, which I don't see. Um, because the government shutdown, this is kind of what throws people off a little bit and us in general. Because there's just no catalyst to push price down. I did see a couple news events last night with Trump or whatever and with Boeing and all that stuff. I think the sell-off is happening right now mainly because of the government shutdown. Because there's a lot of things that are being highly devastating and still dumping even heavier. Let's check CNBC real quick. Let's check BizTalk. I'm just looking for breaking news causing. See, this is what I was just talking about earlier. So FAA reducing air traffic by 10% across 40 high volume markets during the government shutdown. Like this is probably going to be the biggest factor really screwing over the markets right now because whatever. I can't see this because I haven't paid for the Chicago Tribute. Okay, this one over here, same thing. 40 airports cut flights by 10%. Continue. So they're just going to keep cutting it lower and lower and lower. And this is not going to be good for travelers or the economy in general, right? Because people who have bought tickets for like for flights, they're going to get their tickets canceled. So it's not good for like especially companies associated with the Dow and the S&P and Nasdaq, et cetera, because I mean, that's the biggest thing right now. Other than that, I don't really see anything else. We had this breaking news last night too. It was, it's the Supreme Court. They basically tossed out a bunch of cases based on the tariffs. They basically ruled tariffs unconstitutional. But yeah, other than that, that's about it. So guys, here's the entry right there. It was a sell for 702. So it was with momentum. Obviously, I was looking for a buy, but it was a sell here. So if you guys decided to take that there, looks like it's already done. Went straight down to 40 points immediately. Next one's going to be at 721. See, I think this here would have been very tricky. I mean, if you guys wanted to take it or if you guys did take it, that's great. But I mean, I wouldn't have taken it because the probabilities weren't really on my side. There's a 50% probability for a sell. Yeah, let me do the math. Maybe it still would have worked. Let's see if it would have worked here for a sell. So 72.22 plus 50% divided by 200. No, so the cells here only provided a weighted average of 61.11. So it wouldn't have met my criteria. It would have been okay to put on the list, but not enough to meet my criteria to make it a target entry, right? So yeah, unfortunately, that trade right there it just wouldn't have met my criteria. It hit though, so this is a good sign that the algo is still working well, right? It's still working well because the algo identified a trade with momentum. Right here, we had a sell momentum, so it would have been a sell in that direction. Masij said the trade meter just switched to bearish, everyone. Okay, it's good to know. So it looks like we might be shifting over to a bearish market. Honestly, I think there's going to be correction here. It looks like prices dipped far enough and it's ready to correct back up. Let's take a look at market structure. So looking at the market structure right here, the 1 minute's currently bullish, 5 minutes bearish, 15 minutes bearish, 30 minutes neutral, 1 hour is bearish, and the 4 hour is bullish. So with that being the case right there, this is indicating that, price might be ready to flip back around. The 4 hour has been bullish, so if anything, these lower time frames might follow the higher time frame here, the 4 hour. Let's go over here real quick. I mean, the 4 hour is actually looking pretty bearish right now, but this might flip it back up. So let's just maximize this 4 hour chart. So what it looks like here is price has reached supply or whatever it be, demand. I don't know. I don't trade supply and demand. Support there, that's a better thing. So it looks like price here reached support and it's ready to bounce back up. Like I said before, you know, using basic supply and demand concepts, not necessarily for trading, but just in general, price can only be sold off so far until it's decided that okay, this is a discount price and people start to buy the bounce, right? So there's one of two things that may happen here. This is a higher time frame, 4 hours. What can happen here if you're trading the technicals is price is either going to bounce off this level and correct back up, or it's going to break below and continue dropping. I don't think this is going to happen here, the drop, because there's no catalyst pushing price lower, right? I think if there was a news event, like, something indicating price to drop lower, which it could happen. Like, don't get me wrong. We've seen this before where like there's no reason for it to drop, and then all of a sudden Trump tweets something and then price dumps, it goes right through the the floor. So just keep that in mind. Trump is very unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to be tweeting next or whatever he posts on Truth Social. So just, keep an open mind with regard to, the direction or what trade you decide to take. And that's why I don't like trading technicals because it's random. It really is random in a sense. It's random because you don't know what's going to happen next, and there's like all these other catalysts and things that can happen to cause the market to really spike in a direction or not. That's why for me, I like to go off the data here because the data makes sense to me. Right? I mean, it should make sense to everybody, right? The thing with trading is it's all about using probabilities and it's all about using risk management. I think those are the two main things. If you have an edge in the market, the probabilities are in your favor, obviously that's good to take. But then the next thing is really just risk management. Understanding that the trade can lose X amount of times and being able to bounce from it. Or not bounce from it, but take advantage of that. Um, I had a couple conversations with potential clients for the hedge fund recently, and I'm gonna remind you guys that as a hedge fund, my goal isn't to make you guys a killing, right? My goal is to protect your capital and grow your capital, right? Um, a lot of people were mentioning how they agree with my stance on the market. Like my stance isn't necessarily to take risky trades. My stance is to take very conservative trades that have a high probability. Because a lot of people don't realize this, but hedge funds, they're meant to protect capital. They're not meant to like make substantial growth in the account, right? The main reason why people invest in hedge funds is that they're looking for their money to grow consistently time over time. So, whether it's $1,000 profit or a multiple $1,000 profit or $100,000 profit or a $10,000 profit on a monthly basis. People treat hedge funds as like an extra source of income on the side, not necessarily to make them a millionaire like overnight, right? Those are risky investments. If you want to become a millionaire overnight, that's when you trade your own account and you take these YOLO type entries. So there's a fine line between hedge funds and speculative trading, right? Hedge funds are typically looking to just they're trying to beat the benchmark. And that's what I'm doing, right? I'm beating the benchmark of a lot of these other ETFs and stuff like that. Because I'm not slowly, but I'm growing the account at a progressive pace to grow the account, but also not blow the account, if that makes sense to you guys. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you guys are thinking to, invest just in general, not in my fund, but in general. If you ever plan on investing in something, my fund is more so on the safe side. So treat the hedge fund Kodakai Capital as more of a safer investment where you can expect, monthly income from it, not necessarily to grow your account substantially overnight. Obviously, it takes money to make money. Like you can't join with the bare minimum 10,000 and expect to be at 100,000 by the end of the week. It's unrealistic. Um, and you guys have seen, so if you guys look at my stats, I mean, you guys can see from my stats here that I'm very consistent with regard to my trades here. It's not, I'm not making like a crazy amount of profit every day, but I am making profit consistently time over like month over month. So just something to keep in mind, guys. Um, when doing that. So if you guys want to so this is what I would recommend you guys do. If you guys want to invest in the fund, treat my fund as like safe money and then open prop accounts on your side to do risky trades. All right. So you kind of have best of both worlds. It's like you can invest with me with the hedge fund, and then on the other side, you can open prop accounts with the money that you make from the hedge fund to kind of YOLO, right? If that makes sense to you guys. Um, I think that's the best way to do it, right? You have to diversify. You need to have something safe that's just generating money for you every month, and then you have something that's risky where you can make substantial profit, but you're capped at your losses, of course. I think that's the biggest thing. It's really being capped at your losses. Because if you trade a live account, you blow your account, you blow all that money. If you blow a prop account, you're capped at whatever you paid for that prop account. So let's see. Rashida said there was news about Pelosi not seeking re-election. Oh, that's interesting. If that's the case, I would expect market to go up. Nancy Pelosi she's very heavily on regulation and whatnot. So maybe that'll push price up a little later, but we'll see. But all right, guys, the next entry right here is going to be at 721. This is going to be against momentum. You're going to be looking for a buy here. It has a 61.81% probability of it weighted overall. So this is about an 11.81 edge in the market. Overall, it has a 61.11 for buys, it has 62.50 for sells, it has a 60%. So looking at this over here, this could possibly be, um, I mean, it could be a good entry either way for buy or sell. Not a great entry, but it's going to be an okay entry because you do have edge no matter which direction you take. For my direction over here, obviously I chose the buy because it's higher on the buy side, but the sell side here is just as good. They're both around 60%. So if you guys want to take this position here at 721, feel free to take it. Again, like I said, I'm trading things very conservatively because I'm not looking to take unnecessary risk. Um, my main goal as hedge fund manager, as a risk manager, as wealth manager, all of that stuff combined, my goal is to protect your capital. I'm not going to take trades that I don't know, that I'm like on the fence about, right? All the trades I take I'm super confident. I know I want to take it. I planned for it the night before and I'm ready to get into it. This trade, it's not one of my trades. If it was, it would be green, but it's not. So I'm personally not looking to get into this one over here, of course. Let's see. Sam said, I think there was something with OpenAI asking for a government bailout. Yeah, I could see that. I think I saw some news events about that too, Sam. I think a lot of these AI companies are looking for subsidy or they're looking for a bailout, because they're putting so much money into these AI companies like Meta, OpenAI, uh, Alphabet. There's just so many companies who are they're all competing against this, and they're putting tons of money. If you look at the numbers at how much these companies are putting in, it's crazy, like billions, hundreds of billions putting into AI. Same with like Nvidia, right? A lot of these companies are going to be looking for a bailout if they start to lose money because AI is getting hit super hard right now. I mean, you guys saw Bitcoin, right? Let's see Bitcoin. Where's Bitcoin at right now? I was just talking to someone about this too. Like, so it's sitting around 100,000 right now. This is going to be pretty crazy if like Bitcoin drops below 100 and holds below 100. I think that's going to be like that's going to be a big wake up call for a lot of people, right? Because that's the psychological number there. I think if price breaks below 100 and stays below there, it's going to drop even further. And it looks like it's going to happen, which is pretty intense. It's intense the way that it's currently moving right now. I mean, I wouldn't short Bitcoin though. You know, even though it's dipping, I wouldn't short it because I do think it's going to recover. But there's just a lot of markets that are getting hit right now. You know, the equities market, the crypto market, etc. It's um it's pretty heavy. Let's see. Parker said, I see Apex running a deal again. Is it a data pass stack accounts? Yeah, if you want to use it, so here I'll post it over here again, Parker, if you want to use it. If you use the one that I posted, it's probably gonna give you the higher the whatever the highest discount is, right? So if you guys want to use it, I mean, feel free. I'm actually going to meet with Apex, I think this month. They're coming to visit my in my city. I was supposed to go to New York with them, but I just don't have time. You know, me having the new kid and all. I'm just super busy with the hedge fund. I just don't have time to go visit or meet up with the other Apex people. You know, if I was in a different lifetime, I would go there in a heartbeat, but I just don't have the ability to move around like that anymore. All right, guys, so the entry's coming up right here at 721. Again, in order for this to be a buy entry, you need to have no buy signal there. There's a buy signal there currently pending, so this trade will probably not come up for a buy. But like I said, it has good probabilities for both a buy and a sell. So either direction it comes up in, it could be good, but ideally I would be looking for a possible buy. But we'll see. Coney's asking how many contracts does the fund trade per 10K invested? I mean, it's up to you, but in general, 3 contracts is the sweet spot. So with 3 contracts, you would risk 300 to make 600 per trade. I know a lot of you guys are just using 1 contract with the hedge fund. I'm gonna be honest, like 1 contract is not really gonna make a difference for you guys. I mean, yeah, you're kind of playing scared in a sense, right? If it's your first time investing, 1 contract, yeah, you're gonna risk 200 to make, you're gonna risk 100 to make 200, but you got to think about it. If you're only risking 100 to make 200, you're making pennies, and then on top of that, you have to pay the fees for the data. Like you got to pay the data fees, you got to pay for the management fee. You're barely gonna leave with any profit at the end of the month, right? Once you bump up to 3 contracts, that's where you start to make a decent amount, right? Because you're making 600 per trade. Say for example you have like 3 to 4 net trades per month, that's going to yield you about 1,200 to like 1,500 at the end of the month. It's still not a lot, but it's enough to like make a dent. It's kind of like having an extra source of income on the side, like an extra $1,000 might not seem like a lot to a lot of people, but there's going to be other people out there where that extra 1,000 to 2,000 bucks is gonna help with a lot of things, right? Bills, rent, etc. Um, the real sweet spot is like you want to go from like 3 contracts to 5 contracts, because if you do 5 contracts, then you'll make 1,000 per trade. And if you do that, then you think about it like I just same example, just higher contract size. If you're doing 5 contracts and then you're so we have, say for example, I'll do the math over here real quick. There's no entry for me. If you guys want to take the 721 entry, it's going to be a buy if this buy signal doesn't come up. So as long as this buy signal doesn't come up, it's going to be a buy. If the buy signal does come up, it's going to be a sell. Okay, so it's actually going to be a sell here. If you guys want to take this position, take it at your own risk. I'm not taking it, of course, but let's just go to the stats real quick. Okay, so I'm just gonna give an example for October, right? So October, we also had these 2 days over here. So there's basically 2 days. So let's give a net example of like how much profit could have been made and the differences between the contract size. So let's see, we have one, these are 2 trades. So 1, 2, or 4. Actually, these are a lot of trades. There's like 5 trades there. So I'm just going to do the math real quick. So we'll say 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 minus 1 plus, oh shit, plus 1 plus 1 plus 2, or no, plus 1 minus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 minus 2. Okay, so it's basically a 25R, right? That's the multiple for the month of October. So let me just put this into perspective. So if you're doing one contract, one times 200, because that's how much you would make, right? Times 25. I mean, I guess it's a good amount of profit, 5,000. Because well, the thing is, October was a really good month, so this is kind of like an outlier. I don't know how November is going to be, but if November is like a little bit slower, but here's the difference. Okay, so that's if you're doing one contract, still a decent amount of money, but then you want to subtract your so let's subtract your fees, right? It's a 300 management fee, and then for your data fees, we'll say like another 120. You're left with 4,580, which again is not a bad number, but let's show you the numbers with a three contract. Three times uh so one times 600 times 25. See, this is a big difference, right? It's a big jump. Going from 500 to 1,000 to 15,000, it's a huge jump. That's what I'm saying. Like if you do three contracts, it makes more sense. The one contracts it's not really going to make you a lot of money monthly. But it's a big jump right here. And then we'll just subtract the fees here. So for example, if you're to do five contracts, that would be, I think that'd be like 1,200 for management fee. And then minus data fees, 150 or 120. So see your take home is like it's the same risk or the same amount that you're risking per trade, X amount, but the profitability is like huge. So you go from like making 4,000 to make 13,000. And then now the number with five, or we'll do one times 1,000 times 25. Or shit, wrong thing. One times 1,000 times 25. Now it's even bigger, right? Because at this point now you're doing now we're gonna subtract 1,500 and then the data fees. It's a big difference, right? You go from making 4,000 with one contract to 13,000 with five contract or three contracts, and now you're starting to see the big jump here. This is a lot of money in a sense that's enough to cover like, basically to cover your salary like from a normal job. So that's kind of where I feel like a lot of people will make the strides. The one contract is not really going to make much of a difference. I offer it to people because obviously new investors are scared to take risk, but realistically, the numbers you just saw there that I put in front of you, they make a huge difference just by upping your contract size a little bit. It's yeah, your risk is going to be a little more. Instead of risking 100 per trade, you're going to risk 300 per trade. But the thing is, I take like 1 to 3 trades a day, so like that risk is really not. It's not going to be. It's not going to make a huge difference in a sense, right? If you're starting with $10,000 and you're risking $100 per day, it's going to make a small dent in your account. If you're risking $300 per day or whatever, if it's just one trade, you're still going to risk very little. But the potential is like very high. But again, just as a disclosure, previous performance is not indicative of future profits. So just keep that in mind. I just have to make that disclosure, but it's if you look at the numbers just make sense. Um, and I'm only saying this because I'm taking less trades in November, right? We're going into a holiday season. So like November is historically a slower month, right? November and December are usually a lot slower. So you're not going to see as many trades, right? Obviously, October we had a ton of trades here. Um, and then for November here, it's just I just haven't had many opportunities for this week. Maybe it's just this week. I was expecting there to be more opportunities for it being NFP, but next week could be a crazy volatile week. So maybe we might get a bunch of trades next week. Yeah, exactly. David said no risk, no reward. Rev said five contracts is here. Let me do the math real quick. I might have done the math wrong on that one, but it's fine. So 5 times 5 times 60. It's 15. Yeah, you're right, Rev. Sorry. It's just there's so many different. So that's the formula, guys. If you guys are wondering how much it would cost for a management fee, basically it's gonna be equivalent to about 1.5 of a trade. So if you were to do the management fee, it would be if you were to do 5 contracts, it's 5 times 5 because $5 per contract times 60. Because each trade you're making, we're doing 40. So like for each trade, you're gonna do 5 times 5 times 40. You'll be making about 1,000, and your management fee is basically 1.5 of a trade. So essentially, it's going to be around like 10% in a sense. All right, guys, next entry right here is going to be at 728. This is going to be for a sell. This might be a good one because we talked about this earlier, right? The trade's actually going to be depends on how this momentum signal closes. If this momentum signal here closes with a sell signal, then it's going to be a sell. It has a weighted average probability of 61.12, overall at 55.56, buys at 50%, and the sells are at 66.67. It's 1-0 out of the three recent uh, Thursdays. So with that being the case, this here might be a good entry, as we talked about. So this entry here is going to be for a sell, guys. Again, keep in mind that this trade has 1-0 out of the recent three Thursdays. So just something to look at there if you guys are looking to take this. I'm not taking it because it's not one of my target entries. Like I said, I'm not taking anything that's not green. It's got to be green and it has to line up with what I'm looking for. But if you guys do want to take this trade here, I am going to mark it up for you guys, of course. It's going to be as soon as this candle here closes. All right, candle's going to close in about 15 seconds. Candle's going to close shortly in about 10 seconds. Again, this is going to be a sell entry for anybody who is looking to take it. My next entry is going to be at 755. It also has a 0 out of 3 win rate. So we'll see how that ends up going. Right, here's a trade right here for 728. It's looking good so far. I think this trade's probably going to drop even further. So right here, 728 with momentum, 61.12 weighted average for probability. It won 0 out of 3 recent Thursdays, and it's for a sell. Trade's currently running right there in profit. Yeah, Masij did see that 0-3 is actually a good thing. Yeah, looks like it's about to hit right there. It's looking great where it's currently sitting right now. I do think it's going to hit. It's just a matter of time until it comes down to its full target. So if you guys are in that position, we'll follow it for you. I'm not in the position because it wasn't one of my target entries. Again, I'm sticking to my trading plan here, right? I'm not FOMOing into any of these trades. If the trade doesn't meet my criteria, if it's not above at 65, I'm not even going to bother taking it. But I'll mark it up for you guys for those of you who want to take it and if you guys do feel comfortable with it. So we'll watch it here again. I'm not in the position, but we'll see how it ends up going. Sam said, building patience like you have is a lot of work and requires chart time and experience. Amazing win rate you got. Bless you, bro. Yeah, definitely, Sam. I didn't get to where I am today trading by trading dumb, right? In general, like when you're a new trader, it's very important that you guys learn from your mistakes. I see a lot of people who trade and then they don't learn from their mistakes. They'll trade, blow an account, and they'll do the same thing again, expecting a different result, right? For me, it's like I would trade. If I would make mistakes, I would document it, journal my trades, understand what I did wrong, and then improve from it. Um, and that's kind of where I got to the point where I'm at today. I'm very hesitant with my trades, of course, you guys know that, but I'm hesitant in a good way because I'm focused mainly on risking my or managing my risk for the most part versus getting into risky trades. Rev said 721 hit, right? Just marking it for historical data. I believe so, Rev. So let's see. I mean, it was a close one, I think. No, actually, it looks like it didn't hit, Rev. So that 721 entry, this thing was like it literally just tapped stop and it came right back down. See, this is where I would have been uh this is where I probably would have decided not to take the trade. So see how price is pushing up right here, Rev? See how momentum was so strong? When it's against momentum like that, I typically need it to flatten out. So see right here how it started to flatten out a little bit. If it was like this, then the 721 would have been a good entry. But the problem is that this thing has been pushing up since 714. So it's pushing up and the momentum is so strong. You don't really want to jump in front of momentum, right? That's kind of what we talked about earlier. You want to see market kind of flatten out and then reverse or turn the other way. So this over here, I think this would have thrown me off. When I saw the 720 candle, I would have I would have avoided this trade in general because it's against momentum. So just keep this in mind. Whenever you guys see a trade that's against momentum, you want to see price kind of flatten out because it's anticipating a reversal to happen. So you want to see price kind of get really tight and squeeze. And then same with this entry right here at 728. This one over here, see how price is starting to squeeze? This would have been better if it was against momentum, not with. If you guys see the difference there, right? So the difference between against momentum and with momentum is when price is moving like this, you want to go with momentum. When price starts to flatten out like this, you want to go against momentum, right? Because it's just basic volume, momentum, and market structure. Like when you're going with momentum, you want to be riding the momentum. And when you're going against momentum, you want to see the reversal happening. So it's not necessarily going to be like a main thing to like have to look at, but it's something that I personally look at because I've seen this happen, time and time again. Every time I lose a trade, I try to understand why I lost the trade. Most of the time, it's because I'm either entering when momentum's not there, or I enter when momentum's there and I'm going the wrong way. So just something to keep in mind moving forward, and something that I definitely take into consideration whenever I take a position, right? I always look for that. So for example, and this trade's about to hit right now, it looks like. It took a while, but that full TP is really, really close. And there we go, full TP. Nice work. So Rashida caught that trade right there. Solid work, Rashida. Great. Yeah, so Rashida there took it on her top step. Oh, did you pull out of it, Masish? Oh, Masish said, oops, didn't like that big wick, so he's out at break even. It's okay. If you don't feel comfortable with the position, it's okay to pull out of it. It's better to pull out of it than to regret it, right? Yeah, honestly, when I saw price pushing up like this right there, it kind of threw me off too. I was like, oh, this trade might lose because it's in a chop, right? That's a problem when you trade in a chop like this. Price can easily stop you out before going to your target. Yeah, she was scared too. Yeah, it's tricky. It's honestly it's tricky. That's why, like for me, like I mentioned, I like to look at momentum and volatility to identify if the trade's going to be if it's going to hit right away. Because typically, I would like it to hit right away versus getting caught up in the position, holding on to it for too long. Roosevelt's asking, can you restart a PA like you can eval or no? Um, you can't, unfortunately. You can't with Top Step. They were offering it for a while where you could reset a PA, but I don't think they have it anymore. It's like a limited time deal. So no, you for sure can't with Apex. They might offer it in the future, but I don't think they do. Yeah. I mean, it would be nice, right? Like maybe give you like one reset. You can't do it with Apex. They don't offer it. The only company I've seen offer the reset was with Top Step, and they had it for like a limited time. I feel like a lot of people are like they're moving from Top Step though. If you guys heard about what happened, there's just a lot of drama with Top Step. The crazy thing with Top Step is someone mentioned to me that Top Step is now they're registering as a broker. So like they're newly registered. If you let me see if I can find this over here. So you can kind of search up like I'm listed on here on the NFA because I'm a professional trader. But if you look up Top Step, they're actually registering as a broker, which is really weird. I don't know why they're registering as a broker. But yeah, they just registered. So right here, Top Step Brokerage LLC. Like if you guys are curious if someone's legit in the trading market, like if they say they're a professional trader or anything like that, you can search them up here. You just go to nfa.futures.org and you can search up the firm. So like Top Step here, they registered just recently on September 8th as a professional trading firm or as a broker FCM. Like if you want to look me up, you can just look up Cody Kai Capital, and you can see here that I'm legit too, right? You can see right here it says I'm a NFA approved member and I am a commodity trading advisor. Like if someone online says that they're a professional trader, look them up. They're probably not. Honestly, I don't think there's anybody else on Instagram or YouTube or any of that actually is licensed to give trading advice. Um, I don't know one person who's on YouTube or Instagram or any of that that's actually registered as a professional trader that labels himself as a professional trader. Um, yeah, it's the trading space is full of a lot of scammers, guys. So just keep that in mind. If you follow somebody, whether they're legit or not, you should always do your own due diligence and do your own research on that person before you trust them. Because it's not easy to get registered as a professional trader. Like, for example, I'm trying to move over to StoneX, but the problem with StoneX is that there's so much oversight, right? Like I mentioned earlier, I have to give disclosures before I live trade, and I have to tell you guys that, obviously trading is a risk and whatnot. Um, a lot of people don't want that oversight because they don't want to. The thing is, like for me, for example, every month I have to share my broker statements, right? My broker statements and stuff, they're all like public information. Like you can just look me up and you can look up my broker statements, um, and whatnot, and my statistics and stuff like that. I don't think I have to fill them out like every month. I think it's every quarter or every year, but I have to produce that information to my clients and to the clients wouldn't matter because they would just look at their account anyways. They don't really have to look at my broker statements. If you're a hedge fund client, you can just look at your account because you're taking the same trades I'm taking. So it wouldn't matter what I showed you. You just look at your account and like, oh, this is what is happening with the with the fund, of course. But other than that, so let's see, Patricia said because they own Project X platform, Top Step, but they had a ton of issues with platform 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that's what I heard too, Patricia. So that's the main thing that I heard with Top Step. I heard that their platform had a bunch of issues and they just basically reset everybody's account. But they ended up resetting people that were in profit. So that's why people were pissed off because they're like, bro, I made this profit and you reset my account. Um, Yeah, I don't know. I don't trade with Top Step, so I don't know exactly what the case is with them. But yeah, there's been a lot of buzz about around people not liking Top Step. I feel like people they find someone else to hate on, right? For a while, a lot of people hated on Apex, and then they're like, "Oh, Top Step is the best prop firm out there," and then now everybody hates on Top Step, and everyone's doing Tradeify or whatever it may be. I feel like people rotate their hate. Like they're first hating on one prop firm, then they rotate to hate on another prop firm, and it just goes back and forth. That's why for me, I don't really, I would say if the prop firm pays out and you get money from the prop firm, so be it. But every prop firm is going to have, their pros and cons. They're going to have their ups and downs. So just something to keep in mind. But all right, guys, the next entry is going to be at 7:55. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hop in the chat. We got some time from now until then, about 14 minutes. The trade here at 7:55, I'll put it into my algo real quick. I mean, the algo is not really necessary because I already have the data on here, but I'll just show it to you guys anyways. So okay, so for this entry over here at 7:55, it's going to be with momentum. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for price to flip the other way. I need price to kind of flatten out right here, maybe around the support area, and then push back up. It's going to be a 66.67 weighted probability. So this is about a 16.67 edge if you're taking it for a sell or for a buy, actually. The overall percentage is 50%. Buys here have an 83.33%. Sells here have a 33.33%. It's lost pretty much every Thursday for the past three trading Thursdays. And my probability direction here is going to be for a buy. Looking at the list of trades though, so let me see what it looks like. So it looks like it was for a sell. So on the 30th over here, the loss happened, but it was for a sell. On the 23rd over here, the loss happened as well, but it was also for a sell. And the 16th over here, or the 13th, it lost for a sell. So basically, the three out of three losses, that those were for sell entries. I'm looking for a buy here, so this might work out better in our favor. Looking at the statistics here, it shows that it won five out of the recent six buys. So it's only lost once on the buy side. It loses a lot on the sell side, but on the buy side, not so much. So what I'm going to be looking for here is I'm looking for possible bounce off support, or I don't know what else you guys call this. This is called demand, I guess. Whatever you guys call it, supply demand, whatever it is. But basically support here, I'm looking for price to possibly, sit at this area, then continue back up for correction. Ideally, that's kind of what I'm looking for here to take this buy entry at 755. It's a little early, so we have a lot of time here, but that's kind of what I'm looking for. I am looking for this here to push up. I'm kind of curious now if Apex is on here. I don't think they are, but yeah. So like that's what I mean, right? So like if you look over here, Apex is not, they're not a trading company. They're a prop firm, but they're not a trading company, so they're not registered with the NFA. Um, yeah, I don't know if there's anybody else you guys are curious to look up for who's a professional trader. I don't know. It's just funny because like now that I'm actually registered and I see people on social media like call themselves professional traders or they say they have a financial license or whatever it may be, you look them up and you're like, this guy is not even registered and he's not even like on the list. So it's interesting to see people who claim that they are, but they aren't. The Here's what I do have to say though. If you guys are selling any trading products, I would say stay under the radar, guys, because if you get on the radar of the NFA or the CFTC, they will they'll go after you pretty hard. Uh, let's see. So if you're curious to see people who are like getting like sued and stuff, I think it's cftc.org.gov. So I'm registered with them too. There's a lot of cases here. I get emails from them because I'm registered with them, but there's always like I forgot where it's at. But you can see people getting sued. There's always like these like prop firm companies. Here, I'll just search up prop firm. Yeah, so check this out. So you can always see people who are getting sued. This is an old one, but it's like CFTC orders California trader and prop firm to pay 750,000 for spoofing treasury funds. It's crazy. Like there's a lot of these different companies here that get. I don't think Apex is on here, of course not. But what was that one company that was around? Uh, I forgot what that company was called. Funding Talent. Are they on here? No, my Forex Futures. MFF, my funded. I don't know. I forgot what they were called, but there used to be this prop firm that everybody used, and I think it's MFF, right? They basically got sued by CFTC, and then they actually won, which was surprising. But I mean, obviously they're not going to come back. My funded futures, that's what it was. Yeah. No, I don't think it's my funded futures, or it might be. Whatever. I got an email from them, but it's crazy because usually when they go after a company, like they don't stop. They go through all their files and all that stuff, and somehow this that company was able to get out of it. I think they had to pay a bunch of fees, but they got out of it. But now the company's pretty much done with. My Forks Funds, that's what it was, right? there's too many that are like very similar to it. But yeah, I mean, you guys get the gist of it. Okay, so let's see. Question from Elad. Elad's asking, Sean, can you please explain the scalp signal option in the momentum indicator? Yeah, sure. So the scalp function on the momentum indicator, this just shows you that the momentum it lines with both with the multiple time frames basically. So for example here, if you have it turned on and see my settings are set to the 10-minute and the 5-minute, this shows you that the momentum is a sell for the 1 minute, 10-minute, and 5-minute. That's why it's gold. So for example, here, see this green momentum? It's only green, it's not gold, right? This shows you that it's green, it's green on the 1 minute, but it's not green on the 10 and the 5. So you can kind of set it to whatever settings you want it to. This basically gives you confluence on multiple time frames. And it basically gives you a stronger momentum signal in a sense, right? Because if it's showing that it's bearish on multiple time frames, obviously it's probably gonna be bearish, right? And you can see over here when it comes up, it usually plays out pretty nicely, right? Drops down right there, drops down right there, drops down right there. And that's how that indicator works. You know, if you want to go on lower time frames, you can always do that as well. If 10 and 5 is too high, then you can go down to like 3 and 5. And then basically same thing there, right? So these don't align, but this one aligns. And that's how that there works. It's just if you want to see it on a bigger scale. Let's see, Ark is asking, what's the difference between a target entry and the other one? Also, what dictates the opening bell signal on the momentum candle or other things? So let me see. First part of your question, Arik, the difference between a target entry and a regular entry is that the probability is weighed higher. So if it's above a 65%, then it's going to be a target entry. If it's below 65%, then it's just going to be a regular entry. In order for it to be on the list, it has to have above 60%, but in order for it to be a target entry, it has to be above 65. So that's the difference between targeted entries and just regular entries that are listed. Anything below 60% is not going to be listed because the edge is too low. The other part of your question I don't understand though. So you're asking what dictates the opening bell signal? I don't get what you mean by that, Arik. If you could be a little more specific, the opening bell signal. So you're talking about the breakout call. So it's called the opening breakout because it's on opening like market opens at that time. But like the statistics here are the same as we just mentioned. It shows up there because it has a weighted average of a 60 above a 65, so it's at 76. So of course it's going to be part of the part of the list here. So there's nothing special about what dictates it. It just the probabilities are high enough to be list added to the list here. So it's just like any other entry here that's listed. It's just that's at open. So it's called at open because it's at open. It's like literally why it's called at open because it's at 6:29. Market opens at 6:30. So at 6:30, that's opening market, and that's why it's called the opening breakout. Everything else is just a breakout, but that's called opening breakout because it happens at open. All right, so yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Ark. If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know. I think that's it for that right there. All right, we're getting closer to the 755 entry, guys. I need to get a buy signal. So I need to get a buy signal before we can get this here, but I do need that buy signal to come up sometime soon. Hopefully it comes up shortly. And then when it does, ride this up a little higher. Oh, Justin, okay. That's good to know. Yeah, I feel like that acronym is used for a lot of things, right? MFF was used for so many things in the past that like people they mix them up all the time. I remember when my Forex funds was when they first announced that they were getting shut down, it was crazy because their whole website got shut down and then everyone was trying to get their money back. I think that was like the craziest thing. It was like overnight, like even myself, I had so many payouts pending with MFF, and I couldn't even get them because the whole website just went completely down. The government basically overtook their entire website. That was a crazy time back then. If you guys traded with me back then, or if you even if you weren't with me, if you guys saw the mark or the prop firm space around that time period, that's when we used to use MFF. I don't know. We used MFF, FTMO, and the other one was Funding Talent. If you guys remember Funding Talent, now that one was a huge scam. Same with same with Fast Track. If you guys remember Fast Track, that was another one too. Oh, and yeah, like Rashida said, TFF too, True Forex Funds. It's crazy. If you guys have been trading for at least a couple of years now, and you guys went through that, it was like a scary time because like a lot of people had accounts with these companies, and like there was no recourse, right? Because a lot of them were not from the US. So it's like your money was basically disappeared. That's why for me, I just stick with US companies now for the most part. You know, if I'm going to trade with the company, I'm going to use for the most part a US based company because if and when they do get in trouble, there's going to be some sort of recourse. All right, guys, 7:55 entries coming up shortly. Be watching for it over here. All right. I'm gonna step away for 1 second, guys, and then we'll see this entry come up shortly. All right, guys, I'm back. So we got the 7:55 candle coming up shortly. Again, I don't want to see any big candles here. Like I want to see just normal candles. I don't necessarily want to see anything huge come up over the next minute or so because I don't want to have to worry about any retracement happening. All right, so we got this here coming up shortly, guys, in a few moments. It's gonna be entry for 7:55 here. We're looking to get into it. 40 seconds left on it. Like 30 seconds here. We got 20 seconds here. So trade has 66.67 weighted overall probability. I'm gonna get in here for a buy. We got candle closing 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Order submitted.
See if I get into right here. All right, the entry was, I don't know what's up with Apex. Apex for some reason is like a little back versus, I don't know what happened right there with Apex. I mean, either way, it looks like it would have gone stopped out. So unfortunately, I took a loss on that trade. So for this week so far, we're currently up 1R. So we had a win on Monday, and then we had a loss on
Stop
today.
filled.
Stop filled. Yeah, unfortunately. Man, this week here has been kind of like it's been tricky. It's been a little tricky in a sense. So we're currently at 1 hour right now. I'm still net profitable for the month or for the week and for the month. Yeah, it looks like I got spiked out right there. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing here comes all the way back up. This is why I'm always worried to take trades when the market volatility is a little low because of something like this. But you guys saw my entry here. My entry for some reason on Apex is like, I don't know why that happens, but it's super off. It seems like it's only with the prop accounts. Yeah, everything else it looks like it's fine for the most part. I'm just looking over everything here. All right. Well, unfortunately, I took a loss on that trade, guys. Like I said, we're still at 1 hour for the week and for the month. We took one win on Monday, and then we took one loss on today. So 2 R on Monday, one negative R today. I'll put the stats over here real quick. That's going to be the 755, negative 1 R. So two wins, one loss for the day. This is going to be negative or plus 3 R. Looks like market here might just go consolidate for a bit. I mean, it looked good. Overall, the trade looked good. So there's nothing here that I was really concerned about. The probabilities, they lined up with how I was looking for. This trade had a 16.67 probability for a buy weighted, and the bias here was an 83.33. So yeah, I mean, looking at this right here, the volatility here. So, I hate when this happens where the like you just get spiked out on that first candle, but then it comes right back up. The thing with the volatility here is that it's just so unpredictable because you don't know when that spike's going to happen, right? But the spike did happen on that candle right there. Um, the one thing that I'm really concerned about is really going to be the the well, I mean, I guess it's not a big problem for me, but the you guys saw how like the slippage was like really, really bad on Apex. I'm looking at the live accounts. Live accounts weren't as bad, but the slippage on the prop accounts, those were like I don't know what happened with that one, but it was like off by like how many points? Like 10 points it looked like. It's crazy. Yeah, Rev said yeah, so Rev actually got out for worse too. So it seems like a lot of people here are having problems with it's not just me, it's like other people are having problems with the slippage. Thankfully on the live accounts over here, like for the hedge fund clients, it wasn't as bad. But for other people, of course they had a connection loss right there. Here, let me take off the prop accounts. I think it's a prop accounts causing those connection loss. But I'm looking over here at the chat. It looks like Rev here, he actually got pulled out for 30 points, which is pretty bad. That's a pretty bad slippage there. Um, Smith took the loss on it as well, but he's still positive for the day. So that's good. But yeah, for me here, I only took one trade, so I only have 1 R. So right now on my personal account, let's see, I lost 1,000 for the day. And Ninja Trader is all over the place right now. Anyways, I lost 1,000 for the day, but I'm still up 697 for the week. Because like I said, I'm at a 1 R for the week so far, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. Hopefully tomorrow we have a win. So tomorrow if we have a win, it's gonna recoup the loss, and then on top of that, it's gonna connection loss or and I don't know what's going on right now with my Ninja Trader. It's tripping out. I'm just disconnecting and reconnecting people right now to make sure everything is fine, but everyone's closed out of the position already, so it shouldn't be a problem. And this is like the downside of trading so many accounts. All right, everyone's accounts look fine. I just want to make sure that the ones that are disconnected are they don't have anything running on them. But all right, it's 8:02 right now. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Otherwise, I'm gonna wrap this up pretty soon. Okay. All right, now we're good. Order. I don't know. NinjaTrader is so weird. You keep saying order filled or order closed or whatever, but the thing is, like, these orders were already filled and whatnot a long time ago. Okay, so make sure everyone's flattened out. I'm gonna close out of this. Good. But all right, so I think that's it for the day, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Let's see. Sam said high volatility, Sean, for a late session. Still green, so it's all good. Yeah, exactly. It happens, right? Stuff like this happens where you just get some random spike of volatility and the trade just ends up not playing through. So, we traded with our trading plan over here. It's based off the probabilities. Like I said, these trades are never going to be 100%, right? So for this trade over here, we had it was a 66.67 probability of it winning. So let's do 100 minus 66.67. So basically, for this trade here, we had a 66 probability of it winning, and we had a 33% probability of it losing, right? Obviously, I'm going to go with the higher probability of 66 versus the opposite. Um, but it happens, it's just part of the game. So we're gonna come back tomorrow fresh, guys. Hopefully tomorrow we'll close out this week with another win. If we close out the week with another win tomorrow, then we will be able to recoup this loss, and then on top of that, we'll be able to have profit on top of it. So that's kind of the goal right there. We're still up for the week, so whether we take a trade or not next tomorrow, I'm still going to be in profit for this week. But obviously, I would like to take one more trade to hopefully recoup this loss and then make profit on top of it. But I'm looking at all the accounts over here. The accounts they had the loss that they were expecting. There was not too much slippage. The only things that I saw slippage on were the prop account. So if you guys are trading with any prop firm, from what I see, there was some slippage there. But the hedge fund clients looks like it was normal loss for all of us. So, all right, guys, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Otherwise, crazy trading week, guys. Very, very unusual trading week. Tomorrow is NFP, so something to keep in mind. There is something here to I guess there's going to be some concern depending on like what comes out tomorrow. But yeah, we have news at 5:30. I don't know if this will be released. Maybe, maybe not, depending on the government shutdown. And after that, we just have one other news event, which is Michigan consumer sentiment at 7 o'clock. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I will see you guys back here tomorrow for the next live.